About hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Chit Chat.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You look like you're in a forest. You've got lovely
I know.
vines going up your walls.
Do you know what? I've got an audition later on the Zoom, and I was thinking I was going to do it here, but maybe I won't.
I don't know.
But Homer, you've seen The Simpsons when Homer disappears in the bushes. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm at my parents' house, so and we're decorating at the moment. So if you hear any banging, that's why.
We won't get worried. We won't send the police round.
No, it's all right. It's all good.
How come is that a temporary thing? Is that a lockdown?
Yeah, I used to live in Brighton, and then it just made more sense to come back here. Obviously, because of rent and stuff, I was due to go back to Manchester, and financially, it's just a lot more secure to be here for the time being. It means I can save. I'm lucky to have an amazing mum and stepdad, and especially because of what's going on in the world. There's something like coronavirus or something.
I didn't. I'm not aware. What's that then?
I always do this joke. It's so bad. It's such a bad joke.
Nice chance to kind of step back and reflect. Lots of people I've spoken to over these chats have kind of said how obviously the industry is so fast paced and quite manic, and that's kind of we live off that, don't we? Like the adrenaline of like, oh, I don't know where my money's going to come from this month, and let's get me to an audition and whatever, and the risk. But at the same time, it's quite nice to have that forced on you. You have to have a break, and you have to.
Yeah, it's been great. I've had a great year. Even though it's been hard, I've had a really good year actually. I've grown a lot as a person. I'm becoming the woman I want to be, which is great, and that's happened because of lockdown. Because I've had to stop. I've had to learn about myself. I've had to think. So I can't really complain. It's been quite a good year. You win some and you lose some. I feel like I've won quite a lot this year. Yeah.
Oh, it's good. Don't apologize for that. That's brilliant. What have you learned about yourself, do you think?
Well, I in the first lockdown, I trained to be a yoga teacher, which really, really helped me. I have I've been diagnosed with clinical depression, and I've been dealing with that since I was 16. I'm now 25. It's quite a long process, and anyone that can relate knows it's kind of like a full-time job, waking up every day and being okay. It's hard work. So I came off medication in March before I was due to start West Side Story in Manchester, and then I came back obviously because of COVID, and I just thought, I was so naive to the situation. I thought I can either see this as a chance to it could have destroyed me this year, and I said no, and I started to study yoga. I've always loved yoga. I've always wanted to become a teacher, and I just never had the time and money to fly out to India or Bali and do a 200-hour course. And I thought maybe I could do this online. So I enrolled with a company called My Vinyasa Practice, and that was my saving grace this year. It got me through my days, and practice opened my mind so much, not just in a physical way, in how to approach other humans, how to approach myself, non-judgment, non-attachment, non-violence. That's just how we move through everyday life. Just if you are doing this workout, if it hurts, stop. Don't be violent towards yourself. If you want to eat a piece of cake, eat a sodding piece of cake. Don't be horrible to yourself. There's where we all are right now is exactly where we're meant to be. And I think for some people at the moment, it's very frustrating, and there's a reason this has happened. There is a reason.
Did you have theatre as you were growing up?
My mum's a singer, so it's everywhere. She's got stuff all around here. It's quite funny. So yeah, my mum has a school. I actually didn't want to do musical theatre. I wanted to be a ballerina. I went to the Royal, went to London Children's Ballet. I did that on Saturdays and Sundays. Yeah, I didn't want to do musical theatre, and then my mum saw an advert for a musical theatre course at Red Roof Theatre School, sixth form, and it was a scholarship. And she was like, "You should audition for this," and I was like, "Ah." And I thought, well, I'm about to do my GCSEs. I don't want to go to college. See what happens. So I auditioned for that. I auditioned for Tring Park as well. And I got into both. I got the scholarship, which was really good. And then I got into Tring, like I said, but it was like a waiting list for the dormitories. But I live on the south coast, and Tring Park's in Hertfordshire. Anyway, not close, so I couldn't commute. And I said, well, it was a no-brainer. So I went to Redruth, and that's kind of where it all started, really. It was kind of, I just sort of landed on my feet. I never thought I'd get the scholarship. They were only offering one. And I remember there was, like, in the audition room, there was another girl. Well, there was loads of girls, but there was one girl in particular. And we had to take a portfolio, and she sort of had this massive chunky book, and she opened it up and was like licking through it with her parents. And I was like, oh. And I thought in my head, hell no, I'm not getting this. No way. But yeah, I did, which is really cool. Yeah, so it started there, and then I did 2 years there. That's when I first realised I was quite sad. I think it was when you're 16 years old, I just moved away from home for the first time, and it was only me and mum growing up. Then the sadness started to rise within me, and I think because then your body starts changing, and all of a sudden it was just like pouring out of me, and I was playing up, getting in trouble. My mum got called up at one point. I nearly got kicked out, which isn't great, but it is what it is. But I'm still grateful to them. They gave me the opportunity, and they gave me my first steps into the musical theatre world. And I actually didn't get into drama school first year around, so I came back home for a year. I did stage management at my local college, and then yeah, I auditioned for drama schools again. I actually got into Erdang first. That was the only big college I got into, and I didn't get any funding. And my mum, so I remember she came round into the living room, and she just looked at me, and she's always like scraped the pennies together if she can. And she just looked at me, and her heart broke. We're very, very close. Like, she feels everything as much as I feel it. And she was like, I just can't do this for you. It was really sad. I thought, that's it. It's over. I've got to quit. And then a lovely lady called Natalie Roberts messaged me on Facebook and said, I'm so sorry to hear about what's going on. There's a new college in Brighton called the Brighton Academy. They've been open for 3 years. Maybe you should give it a go. Auditioned for Brighton on my own. I was late. I auditioned in like August or something. And obviously I started in September, something crazy like that. And I auditioned on my own for a guy called Tim Newman, and yeah, got in. I found out on the day. And the thing is with the Brighton Academy, obviously I think it's changed now, but when I went, I paid £1,500. No, that's not right. I paid 15 grand. Imagine £1,500, 15,000 for 3 years, and that's what you pay for a year at the big colleges. But yeah, they really looked after me and cared for me, and yeah, it was great. And because there was only 12 people in my year, I mean, I say it was great, it was very hard. It wasn't the easiest journey, but because there was only 12 people in my year, we got so much one-on-one. And at the end of it, like when we were being exposed to agents, we were so lucky. Like, there was so much exposure, and you don't get that at other colleges. At other colleges, you're fighting to be in the showcase, and maybe if you're not a big character, you might not even make it in the showcase. You might be super talented, and then you're missed. So yeah, it was amazing. And then I graduated, and I signed with a great agent. I've changed agents now. I'm actually with someone else. But yeah, and that's how I got to where I am, I guess. And then once you graduate, you're sort of on your own, so to speak. And I actually got my first big job on my own. My first big job was Bat Out of Hell in Germany, and I'd auditioned for that. I did an open call for West End, and I didn't get it. And my agent at the time was sort of like, oh, maybe you're not right for it. And I thought, okay, if I'm not right for that, it's very there's no castability in it. Anyone can be in it. And I was very like, okay. And anyway, yeah, then my friend who lives over in Holland, sent me a screenshot of Stage Entertainment's breakdown for Bats, and he was like, "Babe, you need to come over and audition for this." Well, the next thing you know, I booked a flight and I'm going to Germany, and I got the job, which was really cool. Yeah, that was my first job, so it was a really, really cool first job.
Yeah, as well in a different country, like that's so super cool.
Yeah, it was hard. Like, actually, funnily enough, I was in the kitchen yesterday. One of the guys who's doing the floor at the moment was like, "Do you speak German now?" And I said, "Well, not a lot, but a little bit," because the whole show was in German, which was cool, but hard, really, really hard. I remember before my final, I was here actually. I come back from the night because my stepdad was driving me to the airport, and they sent me the German sheet music through like 2 days before, and I remember sitting in there like crying, being like, "This just isn't going to happen. Like, I can't do it." I don't know how I did it, but I did learn it. It was so good. Like absolute dream come true just doing that. So
yeah, definitely. So then did you have something that went off the back of that, or did you have a bit of time in between jobs, as they say?
No, because I couldn't audition whilst I was in Germany. I had a few crop up, but I couldn't get back for them. So I came back in September 2019. I started auditioning anyway, and then I got Anybody's in West Side Story at the Royal Exchange, funnily enough, in Manchester again. So I got that just before Christmas 2019. So then approaching 2020, I was just sort of waiting for that to start because it was slap bang in the middle of the year. Not really, it was in March. So I went to Manchester on the 14th of March, and on the 17th I came home because of coronavirus. So I did a day and a half rehearsal of West Side Story, and actually now I'm thinking about timelines. So I got that before Christmas, and then after Christmas I started rehearsals. I started the process for Rent, and I got Rent in February. So then I had my year planned out, because I would have gone, originally West Side Story would have ran from start of March to the end of May. And I would have had the whole of June off. Then Rent was originally supposed to start rehearsals at the start of July. But obviously that got rescheduled. So it's just been a bit of that was supposed to be my year, and okay, next year will be my year for performing. I've still been auditioning loads now, but it's just a bit of like a funny process because no one really knows what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, I bet. And also, like you've mentioned earlier, that you've got an audition later on Zoom. So all the audition that obviously normally you would be going to a venue, you would see all the people in the waiting room, you'd be waiting your turn and be called in, and you could hear everyone and all that excitement and nervousness.
It's so weird.
And you're just at home. So do you is it a private audition then?
Yep, it's a private audition. I've just got my agent sent me through a Zoom link yesterday afternoon. So yeah, just gotta basically, it's a bit of a weird one because normally I've done a few. I was at the start of first lockdown, I was actually auditioning for The Voice. So that was all done live and I knew what I was doing. I had my material prepared. And so yeah, I was listening to that, and then you know what you're doing. You've got all your material prepared. Whereas this, they sent me through the I can't say too much about it, but they've sent me through like a storyboard, and I know who I have to look at on it, but it isn't any dialogue, it's just actions. So it's going to be a bit awkward. Like last night, me and Mum were in the kitchen practicing it, joking around, but yeah, it's going to be a bit weird, but it'll be fine. So it's just weird. Like I remember sat waiting for one before, and you just sort of waiting to be allowed in the meeting room, and it's like, and then the rest is just self-tapes really. I hate self-tapes. I think they're jarring and awkward, but it helps if you've got the right equipment. Because
why are they awkward and jarring?
I don't like them because, well, actually, when I was living in Manchester in our house, one of my classmates had a really good like ring light and setup, so that made me feel a lot more confident, because the final video that I was sending off looked very professional and I felt confident in it. And also because I really knew the material, I had time to learn it. It was for a musical, so, and I'd already done a few rounds, so I knew what I was working with. Whereas sometimes you get a self-tape for like an advert or a commercial, they send you a script and they're like, we need a self-tape submitted by tonight or tomorrow. And it's like, then you don't have enough time to get confident with the material. And it's just, for me, it's unpolished, it's unfinished. And I before didn't have any good equipment. So I'd be balancing my phone like on a stack of books or something. And well, with the last one I did for the show, I just, right, I know the material. I'll do it once, a really good take, unless there's any major fluff ups, then we'll redo it. But I wouldn't get a second chance in audition. So let's nail it, do it as well as I can possibly do it right now, and then leave it, send it. And then I always ask my agent for feedback. And if I've got time, I say, I've got time to redo it if you think I should. And if not, I say, I'm out now, I can't redo it. And that's always really handy, that's what my agent's there for. So I say, you make the decision. If it needs to be done again, I'll do it again.
It must be really frustrating. And also, some people say that actually, in walking into an audition room, the first 20 seconds where they're picking up your character and the atmosphere in the room for you as well, if you're thinking of taking the job. So you're obviously, you don't get that energy. I
agree 100%. I friggin' hate doing like a final round. I had a bit of a problem during Rent. I was auditioning for something, and because of COVID, like we had to be respectful of the bubble, they had to be respectful of the bubble, and I wasn't allowed to go, which is fine because we worked out a solution, but it just meant I had to send off more self-tapes, and it was like, and now it's like maybe I didn't get that gig because they didn't see me again. But hey, that's okay. Life happens and everything happens for a reason. So
absolutely. So Rent, we've already spoken to Kayla.
Ah, what a legend.
Lovely girl. So interested to hear your side of your experience with Rent. So talk us through, because that was a live audition, that wasn't a horrible Zoom audition. So talk us through your audition process, your prep.
So I actually auditioned for Maureen first, and I played Maureen in second year at drama school. I was originally in for her, which was great. It was like an absolute but I really fluffed up my first round. It was awful. I think because I wanted it so bad, and I actually auditioned for a production at the Hopemill a few years ago. I auditioned for Spring Awakening with Luke Shepherd and Tom Jackson Greaves. So I was really nervous because I really wanted to work with them. I admire their work. I'm absolutely obsessed. So I was terrified. And also I'd recently been in the finals, I got to the end for something else that Pearson Casting cast. And they cast Rent, so I was back with them, and I knew that I just lost didn't get a job with them, so I was like, oh god, hello again. And also our musical director Katie Richardson, I'd just been in for something with her, and I knew she'd seen me sing, and I just thought, I was just so nervous. I just really wanted to prove myself, and I fudged it up royally, and I left the room and I rang my mum. I always ring my mum after. She's like, "How did it go then?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not getting that." I was like, "Nah, not gonna happen." And then my agent sent me an email and they offered me to go in and dance. And I thought, okay, road's not over yet. Journey's not over yet. And I went in and danced and it was great. I had a great time. And I just loved Tom Jackson, TJG, the way his body moves. And funnily enough, we didn't realise that we were neighbours when I was living in Brighton. We literally live around the corner from each other. So we bonded a bit and like kept in contact, and he's now become like a great friend and I love him to pieces. And anyway, that's a tangent again. So I then got a phone call offering but also offering the poster, which was just crazy. Like when they actually approached me about the poster first, but I didn't realize it was for that. They wanted to check my availability to see, and my agent was like, "They won't tell me what it's for, but are you free on this day?" And I was like, "Yeah, but what am I signing up for here?" And then an hour or two later, he rang me back and said, "So you've got the job and they also want you to do the poster." And I was like, "Oh, is it all of us then?" And he was like, "No, it's just you." Which was amazing. Like it was so cool. And then I think a week later I went up to London and I think we were originally scheduled something like 3 till 6. We did it in 45 minutes. It was so cool. They let me play my music. And they're like, "We need you to feel it. We need you to like be in the moment." And I actually don't really like being in front of a camera, but I get a bit awkward. And people always say to me, like, "Oh, you're so photogenic." And like Millie O'Connell, she takes loads of pics and she was like, "Do you mind?" And I was like, "I don't mind, but they won't be very good." Because I know it's there and I just sort of will be like. But one day I was sat at home and someone messaged me like, "Is this you?" And I was like, "Oh my God, it looks incredible. Like, I'm so proud of it. Like that's something that will be with me for the rest of my life." And it's just, I look at it now and like, actually there's a program here, funnily enough. And I'm like, even now, like that's just mental. Wow, so cool.
Really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I really want those trousers.
Bershka, I wrote a tweet the other night saying like, "I can't wait to cry again tonight." I cry, which is quite funny when people meet me, especially in person, especially how I dress. There'll be times where I'll be in rehearsals and all of a sudden I'll be like, and I just put my head down and everyone's like, "Oh, B's crying again." It's actually turned into quite a busy day. So I've got a Q&A at 6 with the cast and people, but we can't see the people, which is weird. And yeah, so we're watching it tonight for the first time. So I will cry again more than once, I'm sure. It's just honestly like, you're gonna love it. I can't get over like what they've done with the piece still. Like it's so clever, and funnily enough, some reviews came in for the online showing because some press have already watched it about like the lack of touching, and it's like you do realize that we're living in a pandemic. So that's the reason we're not touching, because we were the only production happening in the world. If we start then doing Rent as it, not as it should be, but as it has been, with touching, kissing, that's when maybe we're not gonna end up doing a show because someone's caught the sodding virus. So anyway,
the rehearsal process was fun as well. And how was it living in the house?
I love everyone. They're like my family. They're my brothers, my sisters. I couldn't imagine getting along with 12 people better than I do that cast. Like we really are so solid. However, I like my own space, and that was very apparent when I came back home. I didn't really talk for a few days. My mum was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm just enjoying being on my own again." Oh, I've got a card in the post.
It's your birthday. That looks like a birthday card.
I know it's not. I think I know who it's from. Maybe we'll open it together and we'll read it.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
Do it in a minute.
How would you feel then about going on tour with a show?
I do really want to tour. Like I do, it is definitely something I'd like to do. It just depends on like the situation of the contract and the living. In 10 years, 9 years, I think I've moved like 15 or 19 times.
Oh my goodness.
So in answer to your question, because I'm so used to moving around, I know now, like I always take a few little home comforts and I always move in and I always get settled really quickly.
3 essential home comforts that you couldn't go anywhere without.
Crystals, incense, pictures. I have 2 pictures, one of my mum, my granddad Terry, who passed before I was born, and my nan on my mum's wedding day to my birth father, and another picture of my nan and my granddad who I grew up with, Granddad Roy. I take those pictures with me. They've come with me to Germany, to Manchester, or every house I live in. They're upstairs now here.
Let's open your letter. I want to see.
Yeah, I think it's from my friend Holly. She's just very sweet. I sent her a lovely message yesterday. I checked in with some friends. She was like, I've just sent you something in the post. I'm assuming this is from Holly. She's training at ICT, especially for you. Oh yeah, it's from Holly, and she's drawn a mandala because she's a good angel.
Wow, that's beautiful.
I'll read it to you. Hey B, hope you're doing okay. Sorry to hear about your news the other day. I had some health news. I'm absolutely fine though. Just wanted to let you know I'm thinking of you. I'm really excited to watch you in Rent tomorrow. Let me know if there's anything I can do. We'll have a proper catch up soon. Looking forward to seeing you. All my love and sparkles. And then she wrote a little like mantra. You are strong enough to handle your challenges, wise enough to find solutions to your problems, and capable enough to do whatever needs to be done. How lovely.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so nice, isn't it? Got some amazing friends. Someone asked me on the poll a story the other day, like, what's the kindest thing anyone's done for you? And people were just always being kind.
I want to know why you suit so much having no hair.
Got some passports. Maybe it's in one of these. Yeah, I used to have really. Oh, that's my nan, bless her. Yeah, I used to have really long hair. Like, and I think growing up through drama school, like I was always known. Not. I thought maybe it was an old passport of mine. I was like always trying to fit in. I was always trying to be Miss Musical Theatre because I am so stagey. Like me and Millie are probably the stagiest people in the Rent cast. Like, and no one ever expects it of me. Like, again, because of how I look, and I've like all my castmates know I'm just a bit of a rocker. Like, it's just quite funny. And so yeah, I was always trying to be Miss Musical Theatre, and when I graduated I had like a little box bob and a little fringe, and I just wasn't getting work. And I always knew who I was, but I was just a bit scared to embrace it because of what other people would think and because of what the industry would think and judge. So I sort of like gradually got shorter and shorter. And then during that, I just sort of, I'd always appreciated women with shaved heads. I really wanted to do it. And yeah, then I did it. And it's the best thing I've ever done.
Really, really suits you.
You know, now, because I know that I'm crackers, and I know that I've got that. I know I'm very much. I'm known when I'm in a room, I'm there. I'm not a wallflower. Now, when I go into auditions, I don't have to be vocal because my appearance does that for me. It's like I'm here. I know who I am. And do you like it? If you don't,
it's a lovely shaped head. My head just would not look great at all. It's like perfect. Yeah, my ears are too sticky outy. Okay, so what's next then for Bethany?
I'm not. Well, I can't say too much actually. Not
there
allowed.
Is something.
Yeah, something will happen in the new year. Yeah, in the new year, early like February, March. There's stuff on the horizon. There's stuff planning. And again, it's just waiting for other jobs to reschedule. Like I'm waiting to hear back about West Side Story. But again, it's all like coronavirus and financial situation, so it just really depends.
Really depends. Okay, dream role.
I hate this question.
Sorry.
No, don't apologise. I say that in tongue in cheek. I say it in tongue in cheek. Kathy Selden in Singing in the Rain. I love that show. I love classical musical theatre.
Me too.
Yeah, I love the old stuff. I'd also, this has come about recently. I really want to play Jo in Jagged Little Pill. Have you heard of it? So it's the album by Alanis Morissette, I think. I don't know how you pronounce it. She's got an album called Jagged Little Pill, and it's like, what's the tune? You ought to know. I don't know. Do-do-do-do. And I got one hand in my pocket and the other hand is in the beach side. So it's all her music, and it's like a rock opera. And someone I put up some movement on Instagram the other day, and a director, funnily enough, replied to me saying, "This is just screaming out for you to be cast as Jo in Jagged Little Pill." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "What is that? I've never heard of it." And I've been doing some research on it, and it was on Broadway before coronavirus, and I hope obviously it'll go back. So when that comes to England, I need to play Jo. That's in the universe. So they're two very different roles, but that's very me. I love my work. I love musical theatre. There's not much I would say no to, really. I would also love to do Bat Out of Hell again and play Raven. I love it. The music's amazing. The sing's amazing. So yeah, I do have some favourite roles secretly.
Yay! We all do, and it's nice that they're so versatile.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day, and have an amazing time watching Rent for the first time tonight.
Oh, thank you so much. If anyone wants to come and do yoga, email me, Instagram me. I do free classes online every Wednesday. Relaxation in the evenings if you want to come ever.
Thank you so much, Bethany. Take care.
Amazing. Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye.
You are strong enough to handle your challenges, wise enough to find solutions to your problems, and capable enough to do whatever needs to be done.
525,600 minutes. How do you measure